This is the first of two videos that is going to show you how to compute net present value, NPV, and internal rate of return, IRR. In this video, we're going to look at the capital budgeting review problem that is posted for you under Chapter 11 for Big Al's Pizza Parlor. Before looking at this video, please make sure that you have reviewed the text, material, and other resources you have for Chapter 11, and that you watched the first video on basic time value of money concepts. Now, Big Al owns a pizza parlor and he is considering purchasing a new pizza oven that has a cost of $60,000. Now, you may remember from the first video that in capital budgeting terms, a payment PMT is the same amount to be received or paid two or more times. When computing the net present value of an investment, the payment is the net annual cash flows that are expected from the investment. Big Al anticipates that he will have new revenues and he will also have cost savings from utilities. That's going to total $26,000 a year. Because of the new revenues, a new employee will be required at a cost of $8,000 a year, making the payment the difference, $26,000 minus $8,000 or $18,000. Now, you may also remember from the first video that in capital budgeting terms, our N factor is the number of payments or periods. Now, when we're computing net present value, we're always going to set the N to be the life of the investment in years. So the pizza oven is supposed to last 4 years, and at the end of 4 years have a value of $6,000. When there is a salvage or residual value of an investment, that is the future value. So those are the basic financial numbers that we need, and now what we need to know is Big Al's discount rate. When computing the net present value of an investment, the interest rate or discount rate that is used is the minimum acceptable return on the investment. In other words, what interest rate will make this attractive enough to Big Al to actually purchase the pizza oven? When a company sets their discount rate, they'll consider a few different factors. One factor to consider is the borrowing rate. Obviously, if Big Al has to pay 8% to borrow money, he would want a return greater than 8%. Another factor to consider is alternative investment opportunities. And a third factor to consider is the riskiness of an investment. If an investment is considered to be risky, then a higher discount rate is required. In this particular case, Big Al will be satisfied as long as he earns at least 10% on the investment. So to compute the net present value of the investment, we want to compare the present value of the future cash inflows to the present value of the cash outflows. Now, in most cases, the cash outflow is just going to be the cost. And as we already know, $60,000 cost paid out today is worth $60,000. However, these future cash flows, the $18,000 a year for the next 4 years, plus the $6,000 at the end, has to be discounted back to their present value. So if we go back, we can go to financial, or we can go to recently used and pull up PV. Big Al's discount rate is 10%. The life is 4 years. The payment is $18,000. The future value is $6,000. Now, in order to get rid of the negative sign, put a little minus sign there, and we see that $18,000 a year for the next 4 years plus $6,000 at the end of 4 years at a discount rate of 10% is equal to $61,155.66 today. We subtract the cost, and we see that the net present value of this investment is $1,155.66. So yes, Big Al should purchase the pizza oven. Anytime the net present value is greater than 0, the investment is acceptable. That means that the actual return is greater than the discount rate. If the net present value of an investment is less than 0, the investment is unacceptable. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad investment. It just means that the actual return on that investment is less than the discount rate. So we know that Big Al is earning more than 10%, but we don't know what the actual return on the investment is. So to figure that out, we can compute the internal rate of return, or the IRR. And the IRR is the interest rate that makes net present value equal to zero. Now there's a couple of different ways to do that, but the easiest way is to use the rate formula. So we're going to use the same basic information. It's still a 4-year life. The payment is still $18,000. The future value is still $6,000. But now we're asking a different question. Now the question is, if Big Al receives $18,000 a year for 4 years and $6,000 at the end of 4 years, and he makes a $60,000 investment, what is the actual return on that investment? We want to get a couple of decimal places here. And we see that it's 10.85%. So the internal rate of return is 10.85%. Once again, an acceptable investment because Big Al was satisfied with 10% and his actual return is 10.85. So please let me know if you have any questions. Once you are comfortable with computing NPV and IRR, please move on to the next video, which looks at Big Al incorporating income taxes. And again, let me know if you have any questions.